Good morning, everyone. It's 9 a.m., and we will now convene the Health Sciences System Committee for the Nevada System of Higher Education. Welcome. Catherine, would you please call roll?
Chair Goodman,
Here.
Vice Chair Breger,
Here.
Regent Del Carlo, Regent Fernandez, Regent McGrath, you do not have a quorum.
Okay, we will wait. Let's give it a minute or two, and then we'll... Okay, good morning. We're going to try this one more time. Catherine, would you please take roll?
Chair Goodman,
Here.
Vice Chair Breger,
Here.
Regent Del Carlo, Regent Fernandez,
Present.
you have a quorum. Regent McGrath? She's not. No, she wasn't.
Okay, great. We have a quorum. I'd like to now read the land acknowledgement. Before beginning, we take a moment to recognize that here in Nevada, we stand on the land of the Washishu, the Washoe, Numu, Northern Paiute, Nuwe, Western Shoshone, and Nuwu, Southern Paiute. We take a moment to recognize and honor their stewardship that continues into today. With this recognition, we state an intention to rightfully include their voice and respect them as the 27 sovereign tribal nations of Nevada. Thank you. Regent Breger, would you please do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, thank you. Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll have our first item, which is public comment. For those who would like to call in and offer public comment, please dial 669-444-9171 and enter meeting ID 992-8475-3091, passcode 555555. Is there any public comment at GBC?
No public comment at this time.
Thank you. Is there any public comment at the system office in Reno?
There's none in Reno.
Is there any public comment here in Las Vegas? Seeing none. SCS, is there any public comment on the phone?
No callers at this time, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge that Regent Del Carlo is trying to get into the Zoom meeting, so we are working on that. Thank you, Regent. Be patient, please, if you can hear us. Okay, moving forward, we have our minutes. The committee will consider approval of the February 26, 2026 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved by Susan Breger.
Thank you, Regent Breger. Do I have a second?
This is Regent Fernandez, second.
Thank you, Regent Fernandez. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, it passes. All right, I have my chair's report, and when I became chair of this committee, I felt that it was important for us to move the needle in a few areas, and I think that we have done that. And I just wanted to let everyone know I had a really wonderful conversation with ECG, which is a consultant that is working with our UNLV Medical School, and there's just a lot of things that they have recognized, and I think that they are just going to make it even better. And so I'm very thrilled, and we're looking forward to presenting that report. But that is incredible that we're moving the needle, finding what best practices are, and then implementing them for our UNLV Medical School. My colleague Regent Breger she's done an audit with the dental school because there were some questions about that, and And so she'll be presenting that today with the Audit Committee. We have this wonderful presentation by Dean Hauptman today, just to hear what's happening with UNR and health. And I'm just very excited that things seem to be moving in a really positive direction. And not everything's perfect. And if it's not working the best, let's just fix it and move forward. So I'm grateful for all of you being here, and I look forward to hearing our wonderful presentations today from two people I consider friends. So thank you so much. All right, let's move forward. I have Dr. Paul Hauptman, Dean of the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine, and Dean Hauptman is going to provide us a report on the medical school and offer general remarks, including information relating to accreditation programs and funding. It's very nice of you to make the trip down here, Dean. Thank you so much for coming in person to do the presentation. We appreciate you.
It's my pleasure, Chair. So Chair Goodman, Vice Chair Brager, Regents, Chancellor McNair, Vice Assistant Chancellor Turner, and colleagues, good morning. For the record, my name is Paul Hauptman. I'm Dean at the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine. And today I'll present an update on the status of the medical school. If I can have the first slide, please. So no talk about the status of our medical school would probably be complete without a review of our vision, mission, and values. And we're motivated every day by our vision of a healthy Nevada. It informs everything that we do, including in all important domains like education. UNR Med is proud of its 55 years of medical student education. We were the first medical school in Nevada, established in 1969. Our first class matriculated in 1971, and we had our first four-year graduation in 1980. We are the first and only integrated academic health system in the state, and we're a research-intensive, community-based medical school with a class size of about 70 on average. So we recently graduated the class of 2026. 93% of the students were from in-state, a 50-50 split between women and men. NSHE grad, 63%. We had a great match day with a 100% match rate. 40% of our students matched into primary care or mental health. 21% will remain in Nevada for part of their training. 27% matched into emergency medicine, a very popular specialty, and 5 students matched into UNR Med GME programs. In August, we will matriculate the Doctor of Medicine class of 2030. We received over 2,600 applications and anticipate a matriculation of 72 students. 2 of them will be in our new prospective MD-PhD program. They'll represent students number 3 and 4 in that program. We have 2 students completing their first year. We've had a number of curricular innovations of late, including an evidence and system-based practice course, the Independent Data Exploration and Analysis Project. I've been part of that. It's really remarkable. The students find a clinical question or define a clinical question. They then find a database to answer that question, take a deep dive into that database, and present it. We already have a number of publications coming out of that project. We have a transition to residency course, which will be mandatory next year for our 4th-year students, and a business of medicine elective for 4th-year students. And in the photograph, you see the renowned C-suite members talking to our students about the health system. Some of our students also have particular attributes that we wanted to highlight today. Hannah Schultz discovered a congenital condition in the kidney after volunteering for an ultrasound during class. She stated, "It completely changed my perspective. Being on the patient side while learning how to be a doctor gives you insight you can't get any other way." And Joe Tran contributed to 3 publications through the IDEA project and has stated, "Through this process, I've been developing the skills of identifying clinically meaningful and policy-relevant questions." Some of our students also engage in a creative writing exercise, and they've published 2 volumes so far of Whispers from the Wards, which is a collection of essays, poems, and other musings on medicine and the medical educational experience. We have continued full accreditation through the Liaison Committee on Medical Education, but there is a shortened site visit. We anticipate a limited virtual site visit next fall, and a formal LCME committee review in February of 2028. If all goes well with that, the next full site visit is expected in 2033 or 2034. I'd like to just touch base about graduate medical education. We currently have residencies in pediatrics, psychiatry, family and community medicine, and internal medicine, with fellowships in sports medicine, child and adolescent psychiatry, hospice and palliative care, geriatric medicine, and wilderness medicine. And I'll highlight sports medicine and wilderness medicine in just a bit. Proud to report that we have a new OBGYN residency. The program has received initial ACGME accreditation in a process that started 3 years ago. We've developed a comprehensive 4-year curriculum. We anticipate recruitment and interviews of fourth-year students this fall, with our first match next March, and the first cohort will actually be in Reno in July of 2027. This is part of our 5x30 plan, which is UNR-Med's a major aspect of UNR-Med's 2024-2029 strategic plan. So we have OBGYN ready to go. We're planning a general surgery residency, a pulmonary and critical care fellowship that has also received initial accreditation from the ACGME, a family medicine rural track residency, and either cardiology or hematology oncology fellowship. Also under near-term consideration is a 1-year forensic pathology fellowship. So I mentioned the sports medicine and wilderness medicine. There's some unique training opportunities in both. In sports medicine, we have our fellows at the Reno Rodeo, which is coming up, and at all Wolfpack athletic events. In the wilderness medicine fellowship, our fellows have experience at Great Basin National Park and also a hospital in Nepal. Our Physician Assistant Studies program is doing extremely well. It's ranked now number 21 by U.S. News and World Report, which I believe is quite an achievement for a program with just 6 graduating cohorts. The class size is 24, which will increase soon to 26. We've decided to establish an academic department for PA studies, and the inaugural chair will be Brian Lauf. 77% of our graduates stay in Nevada and mostly in, or often in rural areas, 17% in rural settings, 30% in primary care, 9% are at Renown, and interestingly enough, about 20% of the PAs at Renown are graduates of our program. In terms of speech pathology and audiology, we have about 140 undergraduate students, 43 master's degree students, and 3 PhD students. The program is ranked 120 by U.S. News and World Report. That's the graduate program. Speech pathology and audiology provides services for children through adulthood, speech language services, balance and hearing services, the Aphasia Center of Nevada, including an aphasia camp and a book club, and the University Center for Autism and Neurodevelopment. We have enormous strengths in research. I'd like to highlight the outcomes, recent outcomes from the departments of pharmacology, physiology and cell biology, and microbiology and immunology. Specific areas of focus include muscular dystrophies, infectious disease diagnostics, including rapid assays and vaccine development. They have a global health footprint. Cardiac arrhythmias, smooth muscle biology, and we have additional research in the microcirculation, neuropathy, and cancer. In any given year, we have approximately 30 graduate students. Our research program now ranks number 93 in the country according to the Blue Ridge Institute rankings, which is based on NIH dollars. Physiology and cell biology actually ranks number 22 in the country. Our total research expenditures in fiscal year 25 was $32 million. As of March 31st, 2026, we've submitted 74 proposals in fiscal year 26 to date, totaling $69 million. Obviously, that's aspirational. We're waiting on word for funding on those grants. The Blue Ridge Institute rankings is our best in over 25 years. We have 18 active R01s, 4 Department of Defense grants, and a COBRE award. Here are some recent successes. The R01 mechanism supports researchers. It's one of the highest, most prestigious awards that an individual investigator can garner. So to give you an idea, please don't ask me details about these grants, it's all very complicated. We also have additional notable awards, one at the Sanford Center for Aging, and then 3 in the Department of Family Medicine as shown on this slide. A key pillar of our strategic plan is a connected community. And so I'd like to talk about community outreach, mention the Sanford Center for Aging, the Student Health Center, and the Office of Statewide Initiatives through Project ECHO, the Nevada Health Service Corps, Healthcare Workforce Assessment, the Nevada AHEC, and Rural Nevada EMS Conference. We have a real commitment to rural health. Clinical training for medical students includes a mandatory 4th-year rotation at a rural site location in Nevada or Northern California, and our students run a rural outreach clinic in Yerington, Fallon, and Silver Springs. In fact, the Rural Outreach Clinic is part of the Student Outreach Clinic, which includes a comprehensive clinic on Moana Lane, a street medicine initiative through the Eddy House, and as mentioned, the Rural Outreach Clinic. I will say that 93% of our students at some point during their medical student years at UNR Med participate in the Student Outreach Clinic, and combined, the Student Outreach Clinic and Rural Outreach Clinic provided care for almost 1,400 uninsured or underinsured patients in 2025. And here are some highlights and some photographs from those clinics. I will say that the Rural Outreach Clinic got notice from the Association of American Medical Colleges in a featured story last year. We have a new Medicaid University partnership to assist the Nevada Health Authority with understanding trends in care, cost drivers, and opportunities using healthcare data. We use data and informatics to guide decisions in the delivery of value-based care for Medicaid populations, and this initiative is being driven by a clinical informaticist, Dr. Jonathan Chastain. Up to 5 clinical faculty will ultimately work with Nevada Medicaid on this project. In terms of the Rural Health Transformation Program, we are submitting a range of proposals in support of rural and tribal health care, including expansion of Project ECHO Nevada, expansion of workforce development programs, a patient safety organization, which I'll address next week during the board meeting, medication therapy management, telehealth for speech pathology and audiology, a rural GME consortium, and a certificate program in interprofessional geriatric care. At latest count, we have up to 16 proposals totaling about $9.5 million. In terms of the medical school's finances, they are stable, as shown on this slide. Not included on this slide are grants and contracts, income from CME, and endowment revenues. We had a very good year in terms of philanthropy last year with over $11 million raised, which was an increase from the $7.6 million in 2024 and $3.5 million in 2023. And these dollars have a huge impact on our school in terms of scholarship support, faculty and student research, the Office of Statewide Initiatives, and in particular the Rural Outreach Clinics and Project ECHO, our Department of Speech Pathology and Audiology, and other student enrichment programs. In terms of student finances, this slide shows the distribution of total financial aid, and you'll notice that our distribution is on the left, national on the right, and they look very, very similar because they are. The approximately $4.3 million in blue represents access funds and scholarships to support our students. We've had some recent changes in UNR Med leadership. A new Senior Associate Dean for Institutional and Faculty Affairs, Dr. Alicia Diaz-Thomas from the University of Tennessee, an inaugural Associate Dean for Wellness, now in her 2nd year, Lauren Schwartz from St. Louis University, and an Associate Dean for Clinical Research, Eric Kim, who came to us from Washington University School of Medicine. Also a new Assistant Dean for Curricular Affairs, Caitlin Hatfield from the Dell Medical School at the University of Texas, and an inaugural Assistant Dean for Veterans Affairs, Lori Rawson from the VA Sierra Nevada Healthcare System. We have new academic chairs in speech pathology and audiology, Dr. Mark Giberson from the University of Wyoming, and in surgery, Dr. Christos Galanopoulos. I'm also happy to announce that we have a new chair of physiology and cell biology who will start this summer, Dr. Brian Goldbranson from Michigan State University. We also have 2 new professors coming into the Department of Pharmacology from the Ohio State University. I want to address the Renown Health affiliation just briefly. We will be discussing this in more detail next week during the full board meeting. But just to review some of the accomplishments to date, we've aligned our strategic plans. We have a unified titling series with new clinician educator and clinician researcher tracks. We have rapidly expanding clinical and translational research. Some aspects of that include a new MD-PhD partnership seed grant, Pennington Cancer Institute seed grants, and an expanding clinical trials portfolio. And Dr. Brian Erling, CEO of Renown Health, and I had a featured presentation at the recent Council of Deans meeting of the American Association of Medical Colleges, or the Association of American Medical Colleges. I mentioned the alignment of our strategic plans. I will get to that in a sec. Let's just highlight the joint leadership positions. As shown here, the president of the university serves as a full voting member of the board of directors. I serve as chief academic officer at Renown Health. Our vice dean serves as vice president for education. Our academic chairs serve as clinical service line leaders. The associate dean for clinical affairs is the chief medical officer at Renown Health, and the associate dean for clinical research serves as the chief clinical research officer. And now to the alignment of the strategic plans as shown here. And you'll notice that build an integrated academic health system is part of the Renown strategic plan and the UNR Med strategic plan. And as part of that, we've had multiple major initiatives. Again, we'll review some of these next week in domains including education, research, and operations, which is outlined here. We'll go into more detail soon. But on the operations front, I'll just highlight some of the ongoing projects, include alignment and coordination of philanthropic initiatives, IT integration, unification of compliance initiatives and training modules, the design and application of academic productivity metrics, and together the recruitment of an excellent academic faculty. In terms of future directions, we are looking to stand up a medical laboratory science program. This is a certificate degree program. It has approval by the Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities as of February 2026. We plan a launch in January of 2027 and expansion to rural Nevada in the future. The whole purpose of this program is to help train individuals who can help run chemistry labs, hematology labs, microbiology labs, and all essential laboratory services at critical access hospitals throughout the state. In the speech pathology and audiology department, we're looking to launch a Doctor of Audiology program and a speech language pathology assistant certificate program. In terms of cancer research, we have a federal earmark to renovate the Anderson building, and that'll be the home of the new Cancer Research Center. This aligns with Renown Health's plans for a new cancer tower, and it's part of a long march to NCI Cancer Center designation. We're also interested in standing up a new medical journal. There is no state medical journal. Many other states have a medical journal. This will be a project in cooperation with the Krikorian School of Medicine at UNLV. We're hoping to launch in 2027, and hopefully we'll have a green light as well from the Nevada State Medical Association. Before I conclude, I'd like to just highlight a major event in the life of the medical school that occurred last year and then earlier this year, and that was the retirement of Dr. Tom Kozel. He taught his last class in September of 2025, and we have a festschrift for him just a few months ago in January. Tom Kozel taught every medical student who ever attended UNR Med. He was an inaugural faculty member in 1971. Dr. Kozel developed essential diagnostic point-of-care cryptococcal assays, which are promoted by the World Health Organization. He had 48 years of continuous NIH funding, which is a remarkable track record, and we were absolutely delighted to present him with a festschrift for his 54, it actually turned out to be 55 years of teaching and service with reminiscences from former students and colleagues. And some of them are pictured here. They came to the event in January, and I just thought it was worth highlighting because it's very unusual to have the chance that I had as dean to work with a faculty member who contributed so much to the life of a school over almost 6 decades. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions and appreciate the opportunity to present on behalf of UNR-Med.
Thank you so much. You're doing great things up there. I appreciate it. I have a few questions, but first I know my colleague, Vice Chair Brager. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Great presentation, to the point and very direct. I appreciate that. One thing that I have a question on, maybe it's not happening up in the northern part of our state, anesthesiology. I know down here it's very difficult. And do you have any concerns up in the other part of our state that we need to encourage more people to go into that, or do you have a field for that?
So thank you for the question, Regent Brager, Paul Hauptman for the record. We have a first tier of GME programs that we're planning between now and 2030, and a second tier between 2030 and 2035. Right now, they don't include anesthesiology. We're not having significant difficulties at Renown Health. I will say that it is one of the most popular GME programs among students and has been for a number of years. So we are open to consider almost any training program going forward, but it will likely be in a 5 to 10 year time frame, not before.
Well, if it's not as great of a need as down here, then I can appreciate that. You mentioned on autism. Is it diagnostic or after a child has been diagnosed that you're able to work and help them?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Regent Brager, Paul Hauptman for the record. We do a lot of diagnostics and then treatment following that. But one of the strengths of the program is the diagnosis of small children who parents are concerned might have the condition.
Well, unfortunately, we still have about 10 to 15,000 children that have not been diagnosed in our state, which is very unfortunate because, as we know, the earlier the better and the help that they can get. So I think all of us need to really bond together and make sure that our state and at the health up in the state understands the impact on that and what it does through their full education. So any help that we can get throughout the state, I think, would be extremely beneficial.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I see any questions from any of the regents? I have a few, but I just want to make sure. Go ahead, Regent
I have a few, Chair Goodman. Thank you so much for your presentation, Dr. Hauptman. It was very interesting. I always love updates on our schools of medicine. And I had never heard the term smooth muscle biology. What is that?
Thank you for the question,
I've never heard
Paul
that.
Hauptman for the record. Our group in physiology and cell biology focus on smooth muscle. It's one of the three major groups. There's striated muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle, responsible in the GI tract, the gastrointestinal tract. So we look from the esophagus and further down for the functioning of our GI system, basically. And that's been their area of great specialty. Our new chair also has a different way of looking at this through the neural innovation of smooth muscle.
Thank you. That's interesting. And I wanted to compliment you on slide 24 on your commitment to rural health education. I think you showed on that map where you have students around the state, because that is part of their rotation. And I believe it's part of their rotation for the PA school also, correct?
Yes,
and
our
I think
PA
that's
students.
really, really important.
Yes, Paul Hauptman for the record, our PA students also rotate throughout the state.
Yeah, I just think it's really great. And I was talking to President Dinelli. We had our call for this board meeting coming up. And she was saying that there's been a $180 million grant for rural medicine. So are you part of that grant too? It's just for rural medicine, and it's per year for like 5 years. I think Dr. Turner's going to talk about that to us in an update on full board or on this meeting. I don't remember. But you must be part of that grant, which is huge. So I'm so pleased to see $180 million per year.
Yes, to clarify, so that's a grant program. Dr. Turner will be addressing that is being administered by the Nevada Health Authority. And that was the slide that I mentioned, that we have approximately 16 grants either already submitted or in the process of being submitted at various aspects of rural healthcare delivery.
Great. I'm looking forward to hearing from Dr. Turner on that one. I do want to compliment you for, you said med school finances are stable. We as a member of the board, I love hearing that. That's wonderful. Kudos to you. And your philanthropy really did increase. I did notice that when I was previewing the material. And what do you attribute that to? It went from like 3 million all the way up to 11 million since 2023. That's huge. That's a huge amount.
Yes, thank you for the question, Paul Hauptman, for the record. We have a new director of development who is very energetic. We also have
Very.
had some larger gifts that we've been working on for some time, and I certainly hope we can continue that this year and the years going forward, because it's an essential part of our finances. It's a great way to supplement student scholarships and the activities, as I mentioned, including at the Student Outreach Clinic.
I think that's really awesome, and please pass my compliments on to her.
Will do. Thank you.
I love energy. That's awesome. And to have a Nevada Medical Journal, I think it's really important for our state. That's like a whole new threshold for us. And to partner with UNLV School of Medicine is right on. And will that come out monthly, quarterly, or biannually?
Yes, for the record, Paul Hauptman, our current plan is a quarterly journal. It will
Okay.
take some time. I'll just highlight, all the papers will be peer reviewed in a traditional format. It will take some time for us to be PubMed cited. That's a threshold that's extremely important for medical journals. That's how individuals will then find articles more easily that are published in the journal. That's a process that takes a number of years. So projecting ahead, maybe that's part of a 5 to 10 year plan.
Okay, thank you so much. And I was very disappointed. I was out of country when Dr. Kozel had his retirement celebration, and that's amazing. 1971 till 2026. Gosh, they need a bronze statue of him at the medical school, honestly. That's amazing to have touched every medical student.
I'll talk to our director of development. We'll get to work on that statue. Actually, what we're trying to do first and foremost is establish a lectureship in his name. And so that's one of our initiatives for this year, because I think he's deserving of that.
Oh, I do too. And please let us know, because I would donate to that. That's a tremendous achievement, a personal achievement. I mean, gosh, nobody stays in anything 55 years. I'm still married 55 years, but that's a long time.
Well, for the record, Paul Hauptman, I'll just add that when we approached Dr. Kozel and asked him about establishing a lectureship, I figured that he would want it to be focused on microbiology and or some aspect of immunology. And he said, no, I would like it to be a lectureship on medical education. And that said everything about Tom Kozel.
Wow. Yes. And all the departments always bring in great speakers, and I do enjoy going to them. If it's not too, into the deep weeds that I don't understand it. But yeah, we get some great lectures. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the great job you're doing. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm very proud of your School of Medicine.
Thank you, Regent.
Thank you so much. So I have a couple questions. Is Renown, are they at the table as we work to try to bring more medical, GMEs here into Nevada? I know that that's just such a hot issue because you said that there's, 21%, I believe, of our students that are actually staying here from the match day. And we'd love to see that number increase. Obviously, I know all of us would like that. And are they helping us? And is there an effort? It's just kind of floating out there. We need more GMEs, and we really do.
So I appreciate the question, Regent Goodman. Thank you, Paul Hauptman, for the record. 100% we're working side by side with Renown in terms of financing these, developing them. We have a committee called the Resident and Fellowship Steering Council, where we meet on a regular basis with Renown Health. Chris Bossi has been a great advocate for GME as well, government affairs at Renown. This is a joint initiative. It's one of the strengths of the affiliation. We'll be addressing some of this next week. Brian Erling will join me during that presentation. it is a major focus for Renown as much as it is for us.
I'm not sure why we can't get these microphones to work, but thank you. That's wonderful. I appreciate that. I know that this is not the, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to just explain, with what occurred during, with the accreditation. I know that there was some stuff floating around there, and I think this is an opportunity for you to be able to share, just what occurred there. So you and I had a personal conversation about it, and I can appreciate where you are and what's happening, but I think we should put it on the record.
Sure. Thanks for the question, Regent Goodman, Paul Houtman for the record. We have a shortened cycle. We have some warnings in the accreditation process that we have to clear. Several of them we really believe that we've responded to fully and should be able to clear in the near term. For example, student research. We have done a remarkable job in ensuring that our students have access to research. If we can't satisfy their needs here in Reno, we facilitate opportunities outside Reno. So there are a number of points that the LCME made that we really believe we've addressed fully. There are others involving curriculum and some other areas. We have several consultants that we've been using. We anticipate a favorable response from the LCME Secretariat this fall when we meet with them. We are absolutely dedicated to ensuring that we get a full cycle as of February of 2028.
Thank you. I appreciate the update. I very much do. Do we have any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you so much, Dean
Yes,
Hoffman.
ma'am.
Oh, I'm so
Sure.
sorry, Regent Boylan. I did not see your hand. Go ahead.
No worries. I've got two of them, so I'll put them both up. Yeah. Thank you. Hi, Dr. Hoffman. Good to see you. Great presentation. Appreciate it. Just one question, like Regent Borrega said, there's a great need for an anesthesiologist. And I heard you say it's going to take another 5 to 10 years to even put together a program for that. Am I correct? And if that's the case, when we have such a great need for something, and I know this has been the case down here for many, many years, why does it take that long? I can hear all this money floating around, couple million there, couple million there, 180 million here. Why would it take that long if there is such a big need for Nevada?
Thank you for the
Would
question.
you, Dr. Hoffman? Yeah.
Thank you for the question, Regent Boylan. Paul Houtman for the record. So we have a process of prioritizing new training programs where the needs are in Northern Nevada and where they are throughout the state. And so we've determined, for example, that OBGYN is a very, very large need. And that was target number one. I'll highlight that pediatrics was also a very big need, and that program launched several years ago. In addition, we need more general surgeons. We believe we need more pulmonologists or lung physicians and critical care physicians. There's a big need, as you know, for family medicine doctors to serve in rural areas. So in our prioritization, those were the lead programs. And then we have a second tier. It includes, for example, neurology that we'd like to consider launching. The process from commitment to starting a program to actually the launch is anywhere from 2.5 to 3 years. So we have to keep that in mind as well. And then all of those programs need to get funded on a per resident per year basis. In a back of the envelope calculation, you're probably talking about $210,000 a year. Those costs are not just resident salary and benefits, but they include paying for faculty, for simulation, and for all the ancillary aspects of building a mature educational and research program around GME.
Thank you. That was makes more sense now. Chair, I have one more question for Dr. Hoffman.
Sure.
And I've been asked this by quite a few constituents, taxpayers, et cetera, all those political terms. do we make sure all the graduates who head off to other states and other cities, do we make sure that the Nevada taxpayers get the money they spent on the education for those graduates? Or do they come here and they use, there's a lot of taxpayer money involved. I know the students have to take out loans and some are rich, I think, etc. But do we get, that bang for the buck kind of thing that Nevada, do we get that back, or do they just use our college and education, etc., and then off to another state and we don't see them again?
Oh, thank you for the question, Regent Boylan. We're absolutely committed
Sure.
to doing whatever we can to retain our students in the state. And frankly, if you were to survey physicians in Northern Nevada, many of them are graduates of UNR Med. Some of them left the state to get their training and have returned. It's a real reason why we need to do everything that we can to attract back our graduates who are getting their GME outside the state. Broadly speaking, the figures from the Office of Statewide Initiatives are as follows. 40% of the medical students ultimately practice in the state. 60% of the residents we train stay in the state. If you've been to medical school in the state or attended medical school in the state and did your residency in the state, the retention rate is about 80%. And that figure is in the top 10 in the country. So I think the focus is clear. We have to build GME programs, and that's what we're doing. And I think that's the key to retention.
Oh, I see. And now GME, bear with me, because the government and all these things are full of acronyms. That's what general
Apologies,
medicine
that's graduate medical education.
experiments.
It's graduate
Okay.
medical education, which is the term we
Okay,
use for
okay.
both residencies and fellowships. Fellowships are additional training, subspecialty training for individuals who've completed a residency.
Oh, outstanding. Thank you so much, Doctor. Keep up the good fight. Keep on punching. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Regent Boylan. Regent Fernandez, did you have a question?
I did. Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Dr. Hopman. Incredible to see the work that UNR Med is doing. Some of my colleagues here have asked a bit of the questions that I had, but I did want to ask specific to the 60% you just mentioned, the residents that do come to the state and the 60% retention. What is the strategy of UNR Med to try to retain those specific folks? Because to what my colleague Regent Boylan alluded to, we obviously do invest a lot of our own state resources and NSHE resources to maintain these doctors here. But are there any specific efforts going on there? And in addition to that, I just want to ask both questions at the same time too. I know that we're a bit short on time here, but you also mentioned the fourth-year medical students have a mandatory rural clinical rotation. Might you have the metrics of how many of those students end up pursuing practice in rural medicine?
Well, thank you for the question, Regent Fernandez. First, to the first question about recruitment. So the health systems in the state are responsible for recruiting physicians if they are to be employed, and the majority of physicians today are employed by health systems. Renown Health certainly is working diligently to retain our residents and hire them into the system. And I think the same applies to the health systems here in Clark County with regard to graduates from the UNLV residency programs. What our role at UNR Med is focused on is ensuring that the residency programs are of the highest quality, they're fully accredited, so that we can say our residents can function as fully independent physicians and provide the best of care for the citizens of Nevada. I'll highlight just as a little bit of a detour, then that when residency program directors are surveyed about our medical school graduates and their performance in residency, 100% of them in the last 2 years have responded that our students met or exceeded expectations. So that's our focus. We want to produce a great product for the residency programs, and then hopefully the health systems will hire those residents and fellows into the health system. With regard to, you had a second question, apologies.
Thank you for the answer to that. I wanted to ask if there are specific metrics of those students who do end up pursuing rural practice after doing their fourth year medical rotation.
Right, so thank you for that question, Paul Hauptman, for the records. The fourth year rotation in rural medicine is mandatory, so all students do a rotation. Some of them end up going into family medicine, others into other specialties. Most of our students make up their mind in the summer, early fall of their fourth year in terms of what area they want to pursue, because that's the time to start applying for residency programs. And subsequently, many of the students are taking their rural rotation. So if we wanted to influence that decision even more, you could argue that maybe we have to frame shift a little bit and have the mandatory rural rotation earlier in their clinical experience. But they have set rotations that they must accomplish in that third year. So it gets a little bit complicated. But we are focused on rural medicine. We have an excellent Department of Family Medicine and an excellent training program there, and we are able to retain a fair number of those residents.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dean Hauptman. And would you just for our clarification, repeat those numbers again, the 40, 60, 80?
Yeah, I call it thank you for the question. I call it the 40, 60, 80 metric, if you will. 40% of students who graduate in the state, medical students, ultimately practice in the state. So that includes students who have go to residency outside the state but come back. 60% of the residents ultimately, and by that residents I mean medical residents or fellows, ultimately practice in the state. But if you've gone to medical school here and you've done your residency here, the retention rate is close to 80%.
Great, thank you so much. And I realize this item went a little bit long, but to talk about our wonderful medical school, I think that it deserved a little bit more time. So I apologize that this item went long, but these are all just very important questions, and it was a robust discussion. So thank you very much, and I
Thank you.
appreciate your time. Okay, we're going to move on to our Nevada Behavioral Health Workforce item with Dr. Michelle Paul. She is our Assistant Vice President of Mental and Behavioral Health at UNLV and the Workday Endowed and Executive Director of the UNLV practice. Dr. Paul will provide an overview of SB 353, which is legislation that passed in the 83rd session of the Nevada Legislature, which enables potential enhancements in reimbursement for mental and behavioral health services. So very much needed, and Dr. Paul, your work is incredible, and you know that I think very highly of you, and I'm grateful for you to be here and do this presentation. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. I'm always humbled and I appreciate the invitation, Chair Goodman and Vice Chair Brager and members of the committee to present on what is really a very innovative behavioral health workforce initiative reflected in Senate Bill 353. If we could have the first slide, please. So as I mentioned, I'm going to provide an FYI overview of Senate Bill 353 passed in the last legislative session and its significance as an innovative behavioral health workforce development policy. The focus is on how Nevada is leveraging Medicaid financing principles to strengthen behavioral health access and workforce sustainability in partnership with the NSHE institutions. I'm guessing that I don't really have to belabor this point too much. I think we all understand that Nevada's behavioral health status is in crisis. Our national ranking is last in the nation for access to quality mental health care, in large part due to the fact that we have a high need, so great demand, and our supply of behavioral health providers is not keeping pace. And that is particularly true in shortage areas, such as serving the Medicaid communities and other underserved communities, for example, rural communities. At the same time, we have some amazing university-based, university-operated behavioral health training clinics doing excellent evidence-based care and producing strong outcomes for the people they serve, including Medicaid recipients. However, the current reimbursement structures for this particular type of training clinic don't adequately support sustainability or expansion. And just to give you a little snapshot, at UNLV Practice, the training clinic that I direct, and also the Center for Individual, Couple, and Family Therapy underneath the Kirk Kerkorian School of Medicine, combined, we each see approximately 1,000 individuals per year providing mental and behavioral health services, and train approximately 70 future behavioral health licensed practitioners. And we also serve across the state. At UNLV Practice, for example, we provide telehealth to middle school and high school students in Elko and Humboldt counties. So I want to point out an important policy distinction. We were talking about GME earlier. This graduate medical education program extends back to the 60s, I believe. So for decades, physician workforce development has benefited from a very robust GME funding system. But behavioral health training has not historically had a comparable scale, stability, or institutionalized financing mechanism. So most programs rely on a precarious mix of tuition, short-term grants, and internal institutional subsidies. So in comes the SB 353 innovation, introducing a Medicaid financing approach to build a sustainable workforce and training infrastructure. So what does it do? SB 353 creates a new Medicaid provider type. So the bill directed the Medicaid, State of Nevada Medicaid Office to develop a behavioral health training clinic provider type. So what that then does is offer an enhanced cost-based reimbursement for university-operated training clinics. It also embedded into the bill that the delivery of services could be traditional in-person, also telehealth, and through mobile outreach. If we can have this type of reimbursement structure, this will allow us to have a stronger financial footing to both increase our ability to provide additional training and expand our clinics for more trainees, and of course, by extension, more patient access. So the model is innovative because it applies workforce financing principles that have long been applied through graduate medical education to behavioral health development. Rather than treating workforce development and care delivery as separate systems, it integrates them into one financing structure. And it really positions Nevada as a potential national leader in behavioral health workforce policy innovation. We are the first, I believe, to do this. Washington State started working on this initiative, but we were the first to put it into our law and to move it forward. Oops, I think I went backwards. Don't go backwards. We need to go forward. Oh, now I went too forward. So just to point out the impact across the Nevada system of higher education, as I mentioned earlier, we have university-based training clinics that are doing amazing, high-quality, evidence-based care, training future psychologists, professional counselors, social workers, marriage and family therapists, and related behavioral health professionals. And those programs currently now are serving children and families, rural communities, Spanish-speaking populations, and to Vice Regents or Vice Chair Brager's point earlier regarding the need for children who are waiting for diagnostic services related to autism, neurodevelopmental needs as well. So with the passage of SB 353, this really does offer a game-changing opportunity for our training clinics in non-medical behavioral health settings to have a more sustainable funding foundation so that we can expand our capacity and train more and serve more. So where does the SB 353 stand at the moment? I want to really extend my deep gratitude to Stacy Weeks and her team at the Nevada Health Authority. They got right to work at writing up essentially the policies and procedures that would implement SB 353. They submitted them to the federal level through CMS, and it is now sitting at the federal level with CMS pending approval. So there is a 90-day window that CMS has in order to approve a state plan amendment. However, they can issue a request for additional information, and then that will pause that puts a pause on the 90-day window. So we are still awaiting federal review, resolution, and approval at this time. But we are working with our federal representatives to facilitate and elevate the visibility of SB 353 for more timely review and hopefully implementation as soon as possible. So the bottom line here is the broader significance of SB 353 is that it reframes behavioral health workforce development as a core healthcare infrastructure investment, similar to longstanding approaches used in physician workforce development. It allows us to have more, I keep repeating this, expanded access and a more sustainable behavioral health training pipeline because we so sorely need more providers in this state. I'll end and then open for questions, just acknowledging again the Nevada Health Authority, the bill sponsors, Senators Dondero Loop, Flores, Wynn, Dunyate, Orenshaw, and Pazina, the UNLV team under Constance Brooks supported me in working together with the bill sponsors to write the bill and move it forward, and members of the Governor's Commission on Behavioral Health, which includes colleagues here at UNLV and across the state for their input and collective wisdom at putting this together. And with that, I'll open up for questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul.
Oh, I should also mention, thank you, Marcia. We have representatives from UNR and Nevada State University talking about how this would potentially impact their clinics. I should mention that, I apologize, I'm nervous.
It's just us.
I know. It's a formal setting and I'm here. I should mention, let's just talk concretely. At UNR, we have the UNR Downing Clinic. They train future licensed professional counselors. You have UNR's Psychological Services Center. They train future psychologists. Mojave Mental Health down here in Las Vegas, and their counterpart at UNR, University Health Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. as well as UNLV Practice Clinic and the Center for Individual, Couple, and Family Therapy. Those are 6 clinics across UNR and UNLV. And then Nevada State University has a budding school psychology training clinic and has future opportunities that they're looking forward to taking advantage of, something like SB 353, which may, with in past years, what happens is we've only been able to rely on small sliding scale cash pay services to keep our training clinics open. And that would probably be a barrier to anybody wanting to step into the training environment in behavioral health. But opening this up to allow us to access Medicaid dollars and provide care underneath this system will allow us to build more robust training clinics in mental and behavioral health.
Well, I love this stuff. Thank you so much. And I think the collaboration is really what is wonderful about this with Stacey Weeks and with our senators in the legislature and just everyone coming together to see the need and then act on it. I love that it's pending federally, so this is great. I don't love that it's pending, but I love that it's there. But this is just really, really wonderful work. And I mean, as you know, my field is gambling addiction, and that alone is becoming. We're looking at it, thinking this is going. We're going to look back 5 years and think just the gambling alone is. We're going to look back and think it's like the opioid crisis, right? So, and that's
right.
just one. That's just one piece of the entire mental health picture. And so, I just really am grateful for all of this, and think it's just so vital to get these people out there and help our community, because the problem, especially with the work I do, we don't want to see you when you're at a 9 or 10 severity on a rate of 1 to 10. Let's get you at 2 to 3 so we can mitigate the harm. So anyway, I'm just I appreciate the work you're doing, and I know my vice chair here has a couple questions. Go ahead, Regent Breger.
Thank you, Chair. And Chair Goodman touched on it, and it's not really an answer for now, but just something I think we need to look at. What are we looking to do for the next legislative session? Because when you say, and it'll be more of a statement that I know you need to do it, but I just feel like it's important. When you think about 1,000 patients you're able to see out of how many people that
Right.
would love to have therapy and need it. And the problem where it lies is that even if you can find a therapist, they don't take insurance.
Right.
And so the problem lies that the people of greatest, everybody has need, I believe, but maybe the people of greatest need don't have that $100 an hour and can't go even once a month. So I think that when we're looking into some of these, we need to find out how the state can understand that and a number of other things. And I see it, I chair the governor's subcommittee on childcare. And I've just been hitting my head against the wall, not on purpose, but just had a symposium that could make some changes. But we're going up for money legislatively because it is something that does affect people, and even in the realm of what you're saying.
Right.
So I find that just to be increasingly important. But I am hoping that collectively, every time we go up there fractured, it seems like we get less. If we collectively, we are a state. I have grown up here, and as a lot of people have, but we need to stop. When we talk about our state, we need to talk about it globally. That North and South needs to keep going away.
Right.
We are a statewide NSHE system. We are a statewide health system. And so I guess what I'm looking for in the future, and I'm happy to meet with you or anyone else, and myself and Regent Goodman, we're going to go over like 30 minutes before the audit committee. I could sit here all day on this because it is ultimately so important. And people shouldn't have to suffer because they can't get into even our system. And our system is clogged, not because you want it to be. So anything that I know that I can do, I am more than happy to speak to whomever that can make a difference. But I hope that we're going up there as one voice. I've said that probably for the past 28 years in elected positions. But it really needs, I think the 27 legislative session might be one of our most important sessions ever. I just really feel that way for what we're trying to do, not only in NSHE, but statewide. So thank you for that, Chair. And
Would
you're
it be
welcome
okay
to-
if I respond?
Of course.
Well, Vice Regent Michelle Paul, for the record, you and I are singing the same song and probably hitting our head against the same wall. And I would look forward to having an opportunity to talk with you further, because I too could talk about this all day. Now I'm getting warmed up and the nerves are starting
No,
to
don't
shake
be.
out.
I can, you know.
To your point, behavioral, there are a lot of actually opportunities right now to get involved. We're having a Medicaid town hall, an insurance town hall coming up in a couple of weeks, organized by City Councilman Brian Knudsen. The Children's Action Coalition just had a meeting on Monday or Tuesday, working on what do we need to do next in the next legislative session. SB 165 was a bill that was passed. It was a big workforce development bill, and that's going to need continued support. And I could talk to you about that and what we're doing. But to your point, I completely 100% agree that there has to be a unified voice, that we are, particularly in behavioral health. Behavioral health is distributed across multiple colleges and multiple programs at UNLV, and probably the same at UNR. We are traditionally siloed off from one another. So we have social work. I listed them before, and they're in
did.
at UNLV, they're in 5 different colleges or schools. But under UNLV practice, Institute of Mental and Behavioral Health, the Board of Regents approved about a year and a half ago. We are doing just that. We are creating a mechanism to unify the voice of behavioral health, because I like to say that we're like a gem, right? We have multi-facets, and we shine brighter when we are all together in one diamond. So I am on the same page as you, and I think we can do that across NSHE as well. The behavioral health community has nothing to lose and everything to gain by coming together and supporting initiatives that are going to benefit us all, because right now the system does reinforce people to work outside in a cash pay only environment. And so we continue to have a long wait list. And I can talk to you about some other initiatives at UNLV. For example, our new doctoral psychology, child psychology PsyD program that you will hear more about in June, that is going to be intentionally focused on growing our own recruiting from Nevada, and intentionally focused on promoting staying in agency work, community-based work, and we're not interested in recruiting students who are only wanting to do boutique private practices through Zoom.
And thank you. If you wouldn't mind getting, not now, but reaching out and getting me the dates on those, if I have the availability of time, or I would make it to go to those meetings that are coming up.
Oh, sure,
Thank you.
absolutely.
And thank you for your answer, and I would love to speak to you in the future.
Thank you for your passion.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful for all the work you're doing, so
I appreciate it. Thank you.
take care. All right. I don't think we have a quorum. If you do, yeah, I can hold. Do you want to?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to move on to item number 6, Rural Health Transformation Grant Program. Dr. Marcia Turner, our Associate Vice Chancellor for Health Sciences. This is a really exciting time. And we have this Rural Health Transformation Coordinating Council that is going to be deciding, right, where all the money's going. This $180 million number that was thrown out there sounds just like this boon for our rurals. And they're going to have to work hard for it, as you've said, but it sounds like it's going to be a real boon for our rural communities. So go ahead, Marcia, let's hear about it.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Marcia Turner. I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor for Health Sciences, and I'm excited to give you an update. I gave you an update in the past on this, but I'm going to do a little bit of a review because this is kind of an innovative thing that is not the normal pathway of opportunities for us. So I'm going to give a little bit of background and just an update on where we are right now with the process, because we're not quite halfway through and there's just a lot of moving parts. But we didn't want to wait till next time to give you an update. So today's just a super high level overview. I don't have a lot of the specific details, but I wanted to just at least give you an update. And then by your next meeting, we're hoping that the process is moving so fast that we will actually know the outcomes of some of our applications, and hopefully we'll have really great news to share at the next meeting. But let me take a full big step back on what this is to begin with. So over the last few years, there's been a lot of different changes in the way the federal government funds healthcare. And some of those changes are reductions. And some of the reductions in Medicaid in particular, and the different ways they're funding things, ends up to reduce the funding that rural hospitals rely on to stay open. And so in acknowledgement of that and other things too, and just in general, the fact that there's such limitations and gaps in the availability of healthcare in rural areas throughout the country, this is a neat opportunity that the federal government pulled together. It's called the Rural Health Transformation Program. And really the key word of that is the transformation. How do we look at this delivery of services in rural areas and figure out innovative ways to bridge the gap? It doesn't mean we have to air vac people into urban areas. How do we do more telemedicine? How do we do remote patient monitoring? How do we train more students who live in the rural areas so they stay there and can provide care for their families? And so there's a lot of different ways this is working. But from the federal government standpoint, there's two pots of money. The first pot of money is that every state is eligible for, each state has to do an application every year, and it's 5 years of funding. So we're in year 1. So every year, the states can apply and say, here's what we want to do with the money, and then they will get $100 million. And then there's a second pot of money that is above that, that you can apply for, that is innovation beyond that. So what the feds did in the beginning was they said every state submit a $200 million grant request. And then it ended up that Nevada got just shy of $180 million. Texas got like 200 and something. So every state got a different amount. They all got that baseline of the 100 million, and then the second pot is competitive. And so we got our year 1 money. The Nevada Health Authority is the owner of this grant, and they're doing a terrific job of developing RFPs and rolling it out. And I mean, they have workshops with like 100 people on the Zoom. They have to tell us to turn our cameras off so it doesn't crash. There's so much interest in this. But so there's year 1 money, and then as you get rolling on year 1 money, you're applying for year 2 money. So your ability to get your 2 money depends on how you do with your 1 money in the second competitive piece. And so although Nevada got $180 million, again, the reason these funds became available was in large part to make sure the rural hospitals stay open. So one thing we've learned along the way is that there's a really strong emphasis in the rural hospitals and rural providers getting a significant amount of this funding to help them keep their doors open, to help them buy that X-ray machine is broken or that they need more of or a higher level of. So in reality, there's $180 million, but the portion of that NSHE's eligible for or would be able to apply for successfully is really a smaller chunk of that. So one thing I want to do is manage the expectations of the total pot of money for the whole state of Nevada and the fact that a large portion of that is going to go to the rural hospitals. So that's one thing I just want to make sure is clear. The other thing is that we were very instrumental, and the state did a really good job as they were developing the application to seek input from NSHE and all the other providers to make sure that our application was, had everybody's voice in it. So our institutions were really involved in that. And then before the end of the year, when we found out how much money Nevada was going to get, the chancellor created a health sciences or a Rural Health Transformation Coordinating Committee. And he asked each president to appoint a person to sit on this committee to represent their school and all the stuff that they would be doing per school in this application. And so I facilitate that committee, and it has been terrific. We meet every couple weeks. There's a lot happening. So it's Amber Denali from GBC, Allison Netsky from UNLV, James McCoy from CSN, Megan Komblasi from UNR, Amanda Kay from Western Nevada, Melissa Dedman from TMCC, and Brandon Murphy from Nevada State. DRI's in the wings. They don't have somebody on the committee, but we've talked, and in as much as they have an opportunity, we will bring them in. But each of these folks are on the core committee, and then we have friends of. So we have other people like John Packham and Natalie Brown, and people who are related to these kind of things that go to our meetings also. We even have folks from our IT department, so that everybody can kind of be in the loop and support each other. But the thing that's happening is it's all moving really fast. And in the document that I had attached to the agenda, I decided not to just do slides because I wanted to try and keep it high level, and I'll try and go fast because I know we're behind. But there's basically 4 main areas of the grant. 2 of them have been RFPs that have posted and are now closed, and I'll give you just a high level overview of that. And then there are 2 more that are open right now. The 2 first ones was the Flex Fund, and that was about $40 million, and that was mainly to buy like equipment and renovate, small level renovations of facilities. One of the grants that we applied for was GBC applied for a renovation of their dorms so that they could have renovated space that is furnished, so that when Dean Hopman or Allison Netsky's students are doing rural rotations in Elko, they have a place to stay. And so that was a good opportunity. Another one is rural workforce development. And so some of that is hiring physicians or practitioners, and some of that is educational programs. So we have a variety of programs. We had about 37 different applications that were put in between those 2 programs. One side note I want to note and give Amber Denali, I see her on the screen. GBC actually wrote 5 grants for county and rural entities that they don't even have anything to do with, but they needed help with grant writing. So she stepped up, and Nicole Maher, they helped other folks do grants. And in some ways, they might be involved in some of them, but they just knew they needed to roll up their sleeves and help their friends. The other 2, so there's a variety of grants that are out, really innovative things. Some are like remote monitoring. Some are rural, like vans to take, mobile clinics, that sort of thing. Some are educational programs. And so it's a really wide span of opportunities. And so we are, in the next few months, we'll know how those go. By the end of this month, we'll be submitting for the other 2 that are out right now. One is for Rural Health Outcomes Accelerator, and that's for actual care for like mental health, maternal health, chronic disease management. So we're getting kind of out of the training and more into the actual provision of care. And then the last one that's open right now is the Rural Health Innovation and Technology Grant. And that gets back to the whole federal focus on trying to bridge the gap of distance without having to get in a helicopter. What can we do to use technology to make sure that rural residents are getting state-of-the-art care, and that we're able to help them identify their needs and treat their conditions at the local levels to the degree possible, and then also have the phone a friend help for the specialists at our med schools and other providers to be able to make sure that everyone's getting great care. So that's a high-level overview. Again, by next time, I hope we have some really good news to share, but I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm guessing Amber Denali and Dean Hopman would be able to back me up if you have any specifics on their programs.
Well, this is wonderful. Thank you so much. And it's a great need, and I'm so happy that this money is out there for our rural communities to take advantage of. So thank you. Do we have any questions by any of our board members? Okay. Well, thank you for that wonderful presentation. It's very exciting. All right. With that, looks like we're going to go back to Winter. Hold, please. Well, guess what? That was a tease. We need a 2-minute break, and then we're going to come back to the public comment that I don't think anyone has. So please, 2 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, we're gonna do our last 2 items, everyone. New business. Do we have any items for consideration at a future meeting? Anyone? Doesn't look like we have any new business. Public comment. Is there any public comment at GBC? Doesn't look like it. Is there any public comment at the system office in Reno?
None in Reno.
Thank you. Public comment here in Vegas? None. SES, is there any public comment on the phone?
No callers at this time, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Well, this meeting is now adjourned.